Hey guys, welcome to Digit.in, and we are going to be reviewing the ASUS ROG GX701. This is a 17-inch laptop from ASUS under the ROG branding. It's the Zephyrus, so you can expect it to be slim. But what's really interesting is that this is the first laptop that we have reviewed with the 2080 Max-Q card. Now, the RTX version of NVIDIA's GPUs have just started to come into the laptop market. This has got the top-of-the-line card. It's ASUS's flagship laptop, at least that's what they call it. It's thin, it's supposed to be light, there's a bunch of things going on, but it's got a pretty hefty price tag too. So let's take a look at whether this is going to be worth the money for you or not. The first foremost thing to talk about is the design and the build quality. Now, the ROG GX701 is pretty slim for a gaming laptop. It's just about a little under an inch and a half in thickness. It weighs 2.7 kilograms, which is not light by any means, but given the all-metal chassis, it's kind of a given that it'll at least have some heft. Yes, it is slim enough to get into most backpacks, but as I rudely discovered, this 17-inch laptop, which ASUS says kind of resembles a 15-inch body, not really the case. It wouldn't fit in my camera backpack, which is very large by most camera bag standards. So, you know, if you're going to pick this up, you may want to consider looking at a backpack that's appropriate for 17-inch laptops. The build quality in terms of the lid is pretty sturdy. We noticed that on the GX531 there was a lot of flex. With the 701, that's not the case. It's a lot more sturdier. But the bottom plate for the Aero Active cooling system is still flimsy, and I still feel scared kind of lifting it up from the bottom. But if you use it on the table, you should be fine. I tried using it on the lap and it got really uncomfortable after a little bit of time. So more on that in the performance section. Now, the built-in design overall is pretty, I wouldn't call it standard. It's very unique with the keyboard layout, the trackpad layout. We've talked about it extensively in the GX531 review. The travel on the keyboard is very good. It's responsive. They're firm keystrokes. For gaming or typing, you're going to love it. The trackpad with this new position is extremely usable. I've even used it for light gaming. I wouldn't call not for first-person shooters, of course, but you know, for like Forza and stuff. Pretty impressive, very useful. But what you are not gonna like is the placement of the keyboard. Well, there's a trade-off actually. The ASUS has used this placement so that the keys remain cool, because they've moved the entire cooling system over to the top side, which is where you see all this big width, right, of nothingness. But the downside of that is that if the laptop is kept on the edge of a table, your hands will feel cramped. You know, we're just naturally used to stretching our arms out, and in order to be able to do that, you need to have a fairly large table. So, you know, pros and cons, but bottom line is that if you do have a sizable table and you can find the right kind of positioning for the laptop and with respect to your hands, it's a very comfortable keyboard and trackpad combination. Now let's talk about quickly the performance of this laptop, which is actually the most interesting thing. Now, the core components of the ROG GX701 is that it's powered by an Intel Core i7-8750H processor. It's got 24 gigs of RAM on board, which is the max supported. It's got a 1TB NVMe drive, and it has a 1080p display with 144Hz refresh rate and G-Sync. Now, ASUS says that they've got a proprietary tech which allows them to switch between G-Sync and Optimus for improved battery life. And yes, from the ASUS Armoury Crate software, you can access that. It just requires one quick restart. So it's not really that big of a trouble, you know, but the 9th gen CPUs are on their way. We've already seen ASUS announce a bunch of refreshes, but there isn't one for the 701, which means that if you do buy this laptop, you're going to be stuck with an 8th gen Intel processor for about at least a year till ASUS or Intel decide to upgrade it. But here's the thing, the processor on this is no slouch by any means. Looking at performance numbers, and you know, we focus mostly on gaming, there's of course benchmarks to talk about. So if you want some benchmark numbers, I'm just quickly going to pull them up and throw them at you. You know, for TimeSpy, it scored 7971, the highest we've seen so far. Firestrike Ultra, which is at 5276, again, very impressive. Port Royal was surprisingly 4955, which is a lower score than we've seen on other RTX enabled laptops. So, you know, there's that. For Unity in Heaven, we had an average FPS of 220 with a score of 5546. And there's a bunch of other numbers that we can talk about, and they're all on the screen for you to see. But the really interesting stuff was when it came to gaming. Now, this laptop is able to push out some very impressive frames with the games set to their highest setting, which we will refer to as Ultra. Now, first off, we have Battlefield 5, which clocked 109 FPS at Ultra settings. This is of course with RTX and DLSS turned off. This is without those two features. Doom clocked 106 FPS at Ultra. Metro was 60 FPS at Ultra. Shadow of the Tomb Raider was about 80 FPS roughly. Hellblade at 90. Crysis 3 at 114. So suffice to say that pushing the laptop to its very highest performance segment will be the highest setting of the game itself, and it does pretty well. If you clock this graphic setting down from highest to one below the highest, which we will call high, we've again got some very impressive numbers. 126 FPS in Doom. Metro Exodus bumps up to 74 FPS. Battlefield 5 touches almost 130 FPS with an average of 125. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is at 117. So all in all, it's very impressive. Even for creative individuals, we've seen this kind of performance translate well over to, Lightroom rendering or just pushing out 4K or 1080p videos in H.264, 265 using Premiere. And all in all, here's the thing. Yes, when the laptop is being pushed to its max, you will hear the fans ramp up, because they are supposed to cool the 2080 Max-Q, they're supposed to cool the i7-8750H. So yes, you will hear them, but the interesting thing is, the air that is being vented out the sides or out of the back is not that hot. It's just sitting at about 44 degrees. Is that what we've clocked? We're going to run a few more tests and see that that's the highest it goes, but the keyboard itself ran absolutely cool. In terms of few drawbacks of this laptop, honestly, ASUS claims that this is the thinnest 17-inch gaming laptop. Yes, it is pretty thin, but it is also fairly heavy, almost 3 kilos heavy. It's difficult to find a bag that will fit this, as a laptop bag that is. The two laptop bags that I have, including a camera bag that is as big as my upper body, in fact, would not be able to fit this laptop. So you have to, be kind of mindful of that. Second thing is, the battery life on this is not impressive at all. You're gonna have to make sure that you have a battery power adapter with you at all times, because with just 3 hours and 18 minutes of battery backup, it's not looking very good for the GX701. Yes, a lot of people have said that gaming laptops, don't necessarily need to have great battery life, or rather they don't expect them to, but we still have to say that this is what the battery numbers add up to. So let's just quickly wrap up this review with a few quick pointers. The display on the ASUS ROG GX701 is impressive. Full HD, IPS, Pantone certified, 144Hz refresh rate, and G-Sync. Well, that's pretty impressive. The performance of this laptop is definitely top of the line. It is the highest we've seen on a gaming laptop as of now in the RTX series, but you do have to wonder that why is the 2080 not being able to push up to 144 Hz? That's a question we'll be exploring in the next few months anyway, so let's leave that out for now. So, in terms of its portability, I wouldn't call it the most portable laptop. Thin, yes, but it is pretty heavy at 2.7 kilograms. It does have a fairly good selection of ports. They're all USB, they're all compliant with the USB 3.1 Gen 1 standard at a minimum. So, you're not bottlenecked with a USB 2.0 port on a machine this expensive. So, downside definitely will be the battery life. It'll be the fact that for some reason over the years, ASUS still hasn't managed to figure out how to make the bottom lid of their aeroactive system, the aeroactive cooler system a little more sturdy, so that it doesn't feel like a piece of, thin sheet of metal that will just kind of fold if you try to lift it up from the bottom. So there is that. Our detailed review will be on the website. You can check it out for more nuance. You can check it out for all the exact benchmark numbers. And if you just want to figure out whether this laptop is right for you or not and don't think you got the answer from this review video, make sure to leave your questions in the comments below and I will make sure to get back to them ASAP. Thank you guys for watching this video, and in case you liked it, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, or maybe just share this video with a friend of yours who's looking to buy a gaming laptop. Thank you guys for watching.
For the latest technology updates, subscribe to Digit.in and don't forget to hit the bell icon.